everybody, welcome into the first episode of Talk More with Matt Morrison. I am Matt Morrison, your host, and we're going to have some special guests with me today. I'm going to have on Coach Josh Upshire for the Badger Braves. He'll be on here in a little bit, but for now, I've got Anthony Hartwig here with me. Anthony, pop on in here. And
What's up,
there he
buddy?
is.
Hey,
What's up?
let's switch this around. You're the host this time, so I'll
All
make you
right.
on the left side. You're
All right, sounds good. But hey, man, how about a weekend we've had here of high school basketball, and we had the tournament selection. I know you're going to go a little bit about that on your show, but I want to talk to you about those two games that you called on Saturday, because I know me and you called two games.
right. Nothing like a double dip on a
Oh
Saturday. And
my
I feel like
goodness.
I said this in the group message, like something about these Saturday games for us this year. Every Saturday pops around and we get really close games on YSN, but man, what an atmosphere it was. First I started off the afternoon with the Holy War that also
Yeah.
decided the Steel Valley Conference Championship. So there was a lot on the line, Matt. As you can imagine, both crowds were kind of tense, kind of emotional. Uh, both
Yes.
both uh, both teams were, you could feel the tension in that gym. But it was a fun atmosphere. There's nothing like a holy war to decide a conference champion.
Yeah, I mean that had to be pretty awesome too. And my doubleheader, I had the Fitch girls taking on Salem. Salem, just a tough team to play there. They got three really great players on their team that I really noticed. Abby Davidson and then Cami Rome, and there was one other one. But man, they are absolutely unbelievable.
You're probably thinking
And
about Riley Hutton.
yeah, Hutton. Hutton was really that's
Flash.
the other one. Oh my goodness. Her defense is just and Laura Barton as
I
well,
was watching that game, and I
yeah,
was gonna say the defense that Lauren Burton played most of the game on
against
Zeta Creaky.
against Zeta Creaky, who needed 3 points, of course, to get to 1,000, and she almost didn't get it. She it was a minute 19 left in the game where she finally threw up a three, and it took just a high bounce off the back of the rim and this fell right in. I'm like, all right, all right.
And it was off a loose ball too, right? Like it
Yeah,
bounced right
yeah. The
to her, and she
ball
just kind
rolled
of picked
right
it up.
to
So it
her.
was a little bit of a defensive breakdown. It wasn't
Yeah,
out of the half court. Knowing Salem and knowing the way they operate, they went into that game, I am sure, saying you were not going to get 1,000 on us.
no,
Like that's just the
no.
pride they take in their defense. They wanted to prove that they could defend one of the best players in the area, and I'm sure they knew that she only needed 3 points, and their whole mindset was, "You are not getting it on our defense," and they
Yeah,
almost came away with that goal.
yeah. I was just sitting there. I'm like, okay, okay. There's another half. Like through the first half, I'm like, huh, okay. She didn't get it, but there's still another half left. I was thinking she was gonna come out and get it right away, and they were gonna do the little ceremony. But then, one quarter, two quarters went by. I'm like, oh, all right, all right. And then after the third quarter went by, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like, she has one more quarter.
That's
So
something that you can ask Josh Upshire about too, because when you're
yes,
going into a game as a coach and you know the other
yeah,
team has a guy or a girl close to 1,000 points, I am sure every coach wants to avoid that, not just because of the pride that Salem takes in their defense, but imagine if they would have gotten that really quick, like the first possession, 1,000 points.
mhm,
One, that makes Zeta Creaky take a breath of fresh air because she's been thinking
yeah,
about 1,000 points for a couple of weeks.
yeah,
Two, the energy that gives that team, that momentum, that yeah, let's fire, let's
yeah.
do it. Um,
Because
that
she
that
had
can
a
be hard
weight.
to come back from. So I'm
Yeah,
sure coaches are very, very aware sometimes if players need 1,000 points, and they
yeah,
will do whatever they can to try to stop that.
yeah. And she had a huge weight on her shoulders the whole game. So I feel like if she would have got it quick, she would have played
Right.
uh, a lot more. Like, she still did great on the defensive side. This her shots weren't going down because of that. I think mainly it was because of that reason. Like, oh, I'm three away. Like, I really have to get it in this game, and there's so much pressure that you're not thinking about the game, so you're just thinking about that. So, but I'm happy she got it, and I got a little interview with her. But that boys' game later was pretty awesome. When when Canfield came out 7-0, 8-0 run, I'm like, oh no, okay. And then Fitch just chipped away, chip, 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 and they just stuck around, and they had a couple big shots, especially by oh man, Deshaun Vaughn, who
Mm.
was the quarterback, right? He was a
Yep,
quarterback for Fitch
yep.
last year. He was hurt pretty much all year. That's what I heard, and now
Towards the end of the season, he couldn't play the last couple games.
yeah, so I heard that this was like his 5th game back playing basketball, and he's coming off the bench, and he made what 15 points in that game. So
He's just a freak athlete.
yeah, yeah, he was. I saw him like I'm sitting right there at the score table, and the sweat is just pouring off of him, and I'm like, he's not even phased right now. He's going. He's still going. But I mean, that was one terrific game. The other guy, Gianni Maley, hitting the 4 clutch free throws at the end. That was something amazing. Uh,
That's That's a big win for Fitch because you look at
yeah,
their last couple games, losses in games that I think some of them they felt like they could have won or they were right there, and to bounce back from that and beat an AAC opponent that going into the night was leading the AAC, that's a tall order.
yeah, it sure is. And I caught up with head coach Brian Beanie after the game, and this was a pretty tough game for them to get. Like they're happy they got that. Now they have. I think they said that they have 3 non-conference opponents after to end the season, and that should prepare them a little bit more for tournament play. And I think it will. Playing somebody out of your conference, it's probably gonna be a little bit tougher. Um, I didn't really see who they were playing. Or-
Well, with the schedule that they've already put together, I mean, they've already played Walter Jesuit, who is one of the best teams in the
Yes,
state of Ohio, and they beat him in overtime. So that's got when that game is going to be one that the Coach Beanie brings up, in the locker room before a tournament game. Like, hey guys, we played Walter Jesuit, we beat him in overtime. Who can't we beat in this Division 1 tournament, which is going to be an absolute gauntlet of just good team after good team. You can't sleep on a 17 seed in Division 1 because they're all so big. They're also used to playing high caliber basketball. So you got to go into that tournament ready for everybody. And they're going to draw back on that game against Walsh and be like, hey, it's one of the best teams in the state. We beat them in overtime. Who can't we beat if we play like that?
yes, absolutely. And they play the next team is a team called McDowell, the McDowell Trojans. They're 13-4. That's pretty good. They're from Erie, so that'll be a tall order for them to go out there and defeat a good team like that. The record shows it, and then they go on the road for North Royalton, who's 8-11, but still not a team to take lightly right there. That they win some big games, they lose some big games. It looks like here as I'm looking, but their last game they finally get to come back home and finish off against Alliance. And Alliance 14-5 is, I mean, they're always pretty good at their sport. So they got some pretty competitive next 3 games ahead for them, and I think they'll finish off pretty strong here. I really like they shouldn't have quit at all. They were down and up, and they never ran out of steam. Neither did Canfield. So, yeah, I mean, the one guy Russo for Canfield was going off the entire game. Like he wouldn't quit either, and he knew that the game was in the bag, and he still put up that 3 at the end to make it a 1-point game. Like he wasn't like he played to the final whistle. So I like stuff like that. So Canfield will have a good tournament play, and Fitch will as well. And we'll hear Ty and Richie on the call for them. I'm sure for both
Yeah,
teams.
when they come back from Vegas and on their way back today.
Yeah, they're on their way back today, and a lot of people were. When I was at Fitch, they're like, "Where's Ty at? Where's Ty?" And
He
I'm
ditched
like,
you for
"Oh,
Vegas. That's what happened.
I'm like, he's in Vegas right now, and they're like, oh, it's too bad he didn't get the CZ to get 1,000. I'm sure that would have been something he would have
Oh yeah,
liked to
I'm
see,
sure that
but
when the schedule worked out that way and he saw that he was 3 points away,
yeah,
it probably ripped him apart because he
oh
loves
yeah,
covering that team. He's covered that team
yes,
and Zeta Creaky for a long time. Came up with her nickname, the Key. He's been
yeah,
calling her the Key for a while,
yeah,
and the key to a 1,000 point game was unlocked on Saturday. That's
yes, yes,
little nod to tie on her
yeah,
1,000 point graphic that we did over the weekend.
yes. And I had I was honored to take over for him, but he does a great job. Like I've watched his games before, and I'm like, wow, all right.
How
And
about that
same with
Fitz
Richie.
setup? I mean, like, are we spoiled at Fitch or are we spoiled? I mean, I took
Oh
over
my
for him once
goodness!
last year, and I
I
was
show
at the
up.
scores table. I
I
didn't have to do anything.
I go up there and I'm like, all right, I gotta set everything up, and and they're like, oh, go right here at the score table, and the guy's like, oh, plug everything in here. You don't need your laptop, and I'm like, we have 3 cameras, and I'm like,
Yep,
oh,
yep.
all right, I don't have to click commercials. I
Nope.
just have to move the third camera that they go to sometimes, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. I just sat there and ate cough drops and drank water because my voice was draining.
Right after the second game.
Calling games every day. Plus, I'm pretty sure I got a bad case of strep right now. So doing that every day and then doing 2 games like that on Saturday, I was happy just to sit there.
By the way, way to step up and still hold your first episode of the
I
show
know
with
I
the way
couldn't
you're
miss
feeling
it. I
right now.
told you before the show, if I had broken ribs, I'd still be here.
You can't take me off this game, coach.
No, no, I can't miss the first show. But I was supposed to be on the McDonald game tonight, and unfortunately, I don't know exactly what I have, so don't want to. It's still contagious right now, so unfortunately, I will not be on that game. But that game, McDonald and who do they play? We're looking. It should be a pretty good game though. McDonald, they play Sebring at McDonald, and Sebring, they're coming off that momentum, that half court shot. So I was kind of hoping, I was like, oh, maybe I'll get to see another
Right.
one or something. So I was a little upset that I'm not able to go do that tonight. But tomorrow, and I'll talk about this here really soon because we're gonna have Josh Upshire on here soon. I don't know if he's popped in yet, but he should be soon. But Badger Matthews tomorrow, and I'm gonna try my hardest to go tomorrow. If they give me my antibiotics and I'm fine, 24 hours will be tomorrow. So I should be fine. I should be ready to go tomorrow. I don't care. I gotta do the Badger Matthews game, and it's in Matthews. So we'll talk about that a little later. But that me, Anthony. The rival games, like if bad any rival game, I don't want to miss it. So
Well, Matt,
that should be a good one.
before Coach does pop on, I mean, why don't you just take the time to tell people like what this show's going to be about and
Yeah. So
promo the show a little bit. You're going to be on 3 days a week from 12 to 1. We're excited
yeah,
to have you on
yes,
the
absolutely.
array of
Yeah,
streaming shows that we're putting on this afternoon.
yes, I was on the network before. People probably recognize me from Casual Sports Report or Casual Sports Podcast, which we did for about a year or so. And then, so this show is going to be basically player profiles, coaches corner, stuff like that. And I know that Anthony does that too, but I'm going to go a little bit more in depth. I'm going to bring up the rankings. We'll go over power rankings. We'll try and get the big dog of the week on here, and then eventually we're going to try and make it a highlight show. I think we're going to try and start out every Friday, top 10 highlights of the week or something like that. And I'll go through to clip some highlights. You know, if anybody has suggestions too, like, hey, clip this. If anybody wants to comment, like, clip this. Look out for this game. I will. I'll go watch it, and we'll go from there. But it should be pretty fun.
If you do a top 10, you got to come up with some really cool top 10 calls like they do on
Yeah,
SportsCenter. That's on
yeah.
your
We
bucket
got
list.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I was thinking about that last time. And I texted you about. I'm like, hey, how about a top 10?
Right.
And maybe we could do a not top 10 too.
Oh, yeah, some follies.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I want to do that though. I don't know.
You can have the announcers not top 10 and put some of our announcers on blast.
Okay, maybe.
Don't put the kids
Maybe.
on blast, but
No, no.
you can put our own family on blast a little bit
Yeah,
every now
yeah.
and then.
Every now and then. I used to.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, yeah. I make mistakes. Oh my goodness, you know how many mistakes I make. But it should be a fun ride here. I like doing podcasts. I haven't done it in over a month. I came on your show a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. So we're ready to rock here.
So
So
talk more with Matt Morrison coming at you on
that's what we're
YSN.
rolling with right now. Talk more with Matt Morrison.
I think it more. Morrison and State's
More
right on,
Morrison.
right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It'll be on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 12
Mondays,
to 1 right
Wednesdays, and
before running point.
Fridays.
So
12 to 1. So this should be sweet. And I'll try and switch up locations too, once I sign on with other people and like, hey, maybe you want to come here and do this show. Like, I'm trying to hook up with a barber shop right now. Maybe we can do a show live from the barber shop. We're gonna make it fun.
getting
I'm gonna
your
make it
hair
fun.
cut with Talk More.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Just imagine me live on a show. Yeah. Yeah. That would be funny. That would be the first. I'd have to be the first one to do that too.
Oh,
It
yeah.
only makes sense if I did that. So it
You
should be
do
fun.
that, then the people are going to come out of the woodwork wanting you to do the show live at their place, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I remember I've done stuff like that before. I remember I was on vacation in Florida this past summer, and I did one of the shows on the beach in Florida. I popped on. I remember getting some comments on that, and so that we'll have to do
oh,
that again.
yeah, like last year when DJ popped on Power
Yeah,
Hour from Myrtle Beach.
yeah,
Made us all
yeah,
jealous. We were sitting here, it was still raining and ugly and cold, and you see the beach and DJ's
yeah.
background, like, oh, come on, man, you're killing us.
I was sitting on. I was in Hollywood Beach, Florida, and I was sitting on the beach with my phone, and a couple people would even come up too. Like, the sand's real hot, and they're like, "Oh, can we step on your towel real quick?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I brought them onto the show and
Hey,
stuff.
come
Like, it
on,
was funny. And I
what do
remember
you think
DJ
about
commenting on
Badger
that too.
basketball? What?
Wait, I was just like, we're live, say hi." They're like, "Hi." Like,
YSN debut.
everybody everybody down there, like, they have a great vibe. Like, yeah, you're gonna run into more friendly people than unfriendly people down in Florida. So
Right. So you're
but
you're gonna have a fun time with this, and
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
you're gonna use your connections, and you'll have Badger featured a lot this week. Hopefully Josh Upshire comes on in a little bit.
yes.
I know you're
Should
gonna
be
have the
popping on.
girls program represented this week as well, so you're gonna have some fun times.
It should be fun. Yes, I'm gonna try and get Lavelle Turnage on here. They just won. Of course, Anthony, you've been following this too. First NAC championship in 38 years.
38.
38 years. I talked about this on the broadcast, but the number one box office movie in 1985 was Back to the Future.
I was gonna guess, but there goes
You
that.
want to
That
get? All right, I'll
well,
have you
it's
guess this. Um, what was the other one? What
I
was
probably wouldn't know. The movie would have been right in my wheelhouse.
Well, how about this? Who's the NBA Rookie of the
Oh,
Year?
you picked the wrong sport.
NBA Rookie of the Year, 1985.
No clue.
No clue?
NBA's right over my head.
It's Michael Jordan.
Well, that would make sense. But I had no idea when he got drafted. You could have thrown
1984.
out that guess, though, I guess.
Yeah, I could have. But a lot of things happened in 1985.
Yeah,
I'll
you know
run
what? You know
through
what? The best thing that would happen was, right?
what?
Best thing that happened in 1985 was the Kansas City Royals won the World Series.
Yes, the Kansas City Royals. I'm glad you brought that up
Mic drop.
because 1985. I remember that. Who's the big guy? George Brett.
George Brett,
And
man.
I
Hal
have an
McRae.
aunt. Yeah, my aunt is from Kansas City, and she sent my dad a little postcard with George Brett on it, and I have it framed in my room now. But my dad also has Tinker tape from their World Series parade
This is
down
a
in the basement.
piece. This is a piece of their old turf at Kauffman Stadium
Oh,
before
that's
they
awesome. That's awesome.
before they moved to natural grass. Matt, we have Josh Upshire on, so let's bring him on.
Let's bring him
and,
on.
you can have some fun with him.
All right, sounds good.
I'll see you, buddy.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Hey, welcome. We got Josh Upshire on here. Where are you driving?
I am driving currently, yes, sir.
All right, well, be careful. How we doing? How are the boys doing?
Good, good.
Good, good.
Eager to get back on the court, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and go to this game tomorrow. I already had to cancel my game tonight. I have a little case of strep, I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to the doctors today. So I'm gonna try really hard to come to your game tomorrow. Okay, really
Should
hard.
be a good one tomorrow.
Yeah, it should be great. I mean, Matthews and Badger, old rivals. I talked about
Yep.
this a little before he came on. The last game came down to the last second as well, so we could get another one of those. And but what do you got for me? Anything new?
Just preparing for getting better for the tournament. So tournament draw was yesterday, and
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
we were fortunate enough to have the 6th seed for our tournament. So we gotta prepare. We still have that bullseye on our back, so
Yes,
prepare for that.
yes. So you guys are going to take on Fairport, and we all know what happened last time. They hit the buzzer beater at the end, so I'm sure you're. Yes, me too. I'm included on this. That we're pretty anxious to face them again, and they're coming in the Badger too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you'll have a little bit of advantage there. And I've noticed Fairport always seems to do better at home too, not on the road. I've noticed that too. So that should be good. But I was looking at your post from yesterday. I'm actually looking at it right now, and it looks like what you would play Springfield next if you would beat Fairport.
Yeah, tough Springfield team. So
yes,
yeah,
they're scrappy.
if we're fortunate enough to make it past Fairport, then we would go with Springfield in the next round. That would still be a home game for us.
And then
Springfield.
Yeah. But then you could possibly match up with either Bristol or Matthews again. I see there after that.
Yeah.
Because Bristol plays Loudonville.
Loudonville chose to drive 2 hours to play Bristol. So.
Oh geez.
That's a long bus ride on a Tuesday night. So,
yeah, it is.
But we have a nice opportunity to have an NAC matchup for the district semifinals. So
yes.
We just have to take care of our business. So
yes, that's true. And I was looking at this side of the bracket, and I'm like, oh boy, what teams have we got in here? And I noticed that Cornerstone Christian isn't on this side, and neither is Richmond Heights. So we'll be. I mean, that's nice. Yeah. You don't have to worry about that yet. So
yeah. Yep.
Just one game at a time, though.
As I was just gonna say, as Coach Turnage says, we take it one game at a time. So, ready to get into the tournament. We still got to be prepared to a good Matthews team tomorrow. We just save a free throw at the end. So,
yep.
It'll be a tough matchup going into the shoebox tomorrow, and hopefully
that's literally what it is too.
So,
that's literally what it is too. It's so small in there, and I'm like, where am I gonna set up? Like, so I gotta get in touch with my buddy Brian Oatridge, who works for YSN and he coaches for Matthews. So I'm gonna have to go talk to him.
Yeah.
But it should be a great game.
We just
Go ahead.
We just rescheduled our PV game for next Monday. So we'll have a tough stretch there. PV Monday, Heartland on Tuesday. So
yes, at PV still.
Yes, sir, at PV. Yep.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we were supposed to go there Friday, and unfortunately, what happened? We won't go into that, but I mean, prayers are out with PV, and hopefully everything's okay with them, man. But it should be a great matchup. That's very anticipated, especially after, they handed you guys your first loss, and that was at 1 point. What was it, 1 point or 3 points?
Yeah. Another 3 with about 4 seconds left. Yep.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep. So you got a lot of anticipated matchups coming up your way, and Heartland Christian as well. So a lot of holes to be patched up per se. And so you got the
and depending
guys
on
to help too.
Yeah, depending on what happens on Friday, what happens on Tuesday, we could be at Wyndham on Friday or at St. John on Friday. So two very tough places to play. So, we have a schedule that should get us ready for the tournament. We're looking forward to it.
Yes, yes. So it should
Yep.
be one heck of a ride, though. I mean, last
Yeah.
year, look what you guys did last year. You were a 9
Yeah.
seed, made it all the way to the district semifinal. I was calling it the Cinderella run.
Yep.
Now this year, you got Big Duncan Moy in the lineup. Misimagine if you had him last year. Oh my goodness! But
Yeah. Yeah.
you guys got
I told him a
the
couple of
pieces.
times.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did. You guys got the right pieces. You've got,
Yep.
I mean, of course, Duncan is the front point. Brad Hamilton has had a solid senior year, 1,000 points, of
Yeah.
course. And Cole Burnett, he's been up and down. He's had some really great
Yeah.
games. But I just have that feeling that he's going to get into that mode and just lock into it before those playoffs. So,
Yep.
but you
Yeah.
almost know.
We definitely have the pieces to make it to make a nice run.
Yes.
We have to do what we do,
Yes.
and focus on what we do. If we focus on what we do, like I said, we have the pieces to make a nice run. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, we have to do what we do.
Yes, absolutely. And it's been an honor being broadcasting you guys all year long, and we've even shouted this out on WKBN too. I know you got some backlash for that, but
Yeah.
it's
And,
been great.
and
Yeah.
and like I said, it was nothing against WKBN, but
No.
YSN has been in our side since the beginning of last year. When we signed on with YSN, they've shown nothing but love for our community and for our athletes. And that's at the end of the day, that's all it really was just let people know that we appreciate what WKBN did for us, but and you were at
Yeah.
the game. You still called
Yeah.
the game, even though
Still call the
WKBN was
game.
there. And you guys have been in our side since day one. So I just wanted to give that shout out to you guys for an appreciation for you guys being there for us.
Yes, and I appreciate that. But how about this? Um, how do you feel about the blended districts in D4 and how it gives the best teams to have that chance to go far? How do you feel about that?
Um, the blended districts aren't. It is what it is. But for me, it's the entire feel of the tournament. I'm an old school guy. I would much rather have the one site for the tournament, but I don't think that's ever going to go back to the way that it was. Um, you know, Even though you host the home tournament games, you're still not allowed to do certain things, signs up on the walls and those types of things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm more for the old school, just have it at one place, whether it's at Grand Valley or Struthers or Norton, wherever it may be. I'm more for that old school feel, and have your team come and
Oh, well, we might have lost Josh
there we
there.
are.
Oh, there we
There we
go.
are.
There we go.
Sorry, I had a
It's
phone
okay.
call.
Oh, it's
But
okay.
yeah, I'm for the old school tournament atmosphere. I have your team show up and watch other games and that stuff. It was pretty cool that way.
Yeah, it's easier to go to those games too.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Yep.
one place, and you have the opportunity to look at the team that you know where they're going to be. You don't know
Yeah.
you don't know that they're going
Yep.
to skip around like sometimes they do. So you have the opportunity to scout the team. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
People are making 2-hour drives. Rather
Right.
than going
And
one
and and
one spot.
and I will say that the toughest part with the blended district is there were probably a good 10 to 12 teams that I had no clue of anything about other than their bio and look them up on Max Preps and see, their
Yeah,
schedule. But, it's not a familiar team where we're able to pull up some film on them and scout them a little bit before that, or we've seen them play, like you have in your normal district. So I'd say that's the toughest part. It's just there's about 10 to 12 teams that you don't really know anything about. So,
no. But I do know one thing: you guys have had some very close games. We talked about the Matthews and the PV game, and they've
yeah,
gone either way so far. You know, um, it's a 50-50 chance. So
Yeah.
how do those close games against like Maplewood, against PV, Matthews, Heartland Christian, how do those prepare you guys for like the main stage of the tournament? I know I've talked to you about this before too.
So you're just hoping that you learn from those experiences. We've had some very entertaining endings, I'll say.
Yes.
Whether it's with the Heartland Christian game or the PV game, any of those games. You hope at the end of the day you learn from those mistakes and you move on and prepare you for the next time that it happens. So the Maplewood ending didn't really end the way the other games ended.
No.
We with the Maplewood game we kind of passed the ball too much,
Yeah.
for lack of better terms. Nobody was eager to take the shot at the end of the game. You're hoping you have that one player who wants to take the shot. We passed it around. We had 18 seconds with the ball, and
Yeah.
we didn't get a shot off. So a lot of guys wanting somebody else to take the shot, I think. So you're hoping at the end of the day you're just learning from those experiences, and next time we get that experience, hopefully we do have somebody that wants to take that shot and knocks it down.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I've been there. I've had the heartache through it. But what other main things do you have to work on to, come out with some of those close games? I know you've talked about the defense, and
Hmm.
even passing the ball, like you just said, you got to shoot quicker.
Yeah,
But I remember the main thing is the defense that you were talking
yeah,
about. If you want to give that little spiel,
yeah, and that's my biggest thing in the end of all post game talks is we got to continue to get better on defense. We have some lapses there. I mean, go back to the PV game. We were up 17 in the fourth quarter.
hmm
You can't have those mental lapses on the defensive end to allow them to come back from a 17-point game. So
um,
you're hoping that our focus is defense the last few practices. So you're hoping that you're getting after it a little bit more. And I feel like we have been getting after it a little bit more in practice.
yes,
I feel like we were prepared to go in for a battle on Friday and have a very good defensive game plan. So hopefully that can carry over to tomorrow's game. I know Coach Weimer and Coach Jason Lee over there. I know they're going to have something to take Duncan out of the game, and going and talking about that. When I'm on the games with you for the girls' games,
yeah,
and the teams take away Katie, and I always say, it's somebody else is going to have to step up to replace her when they're trying to take her out of the game. So we're looking for that next guy to step up if they're
yeah.
trying to take Duncan out of the game, and
You need to find
we
your Bree Huscroft. You need to
yeah,
find your
right,
Bree
yep,
Huscroft who comes out,
yeah,
makes 3 or 4 threes a game, and then you
right,
even have Julia Toth that makes a
yeah,
lot of great plays, and
yep.
Mackenzie Gross as well.
And
So
we have those players. I mean, we have a lot of guys who are very skilled offensively.
yes,
So they
Preston
just
and Lou, and
yeah,
even the young
Brad
Tyler
Hamilton,
McWilliams. Tyler
Tyler
McWilliams
McWilliams,
came in,
Bryce.
and
Yeah,
Bryce as well. Bryce can get
yep.
some good rebounds. I'm glad you brought up Bryce. How is his nose doing?
Well, Bryce claims that in a couple weeks he's gonna be taking the mask off. I don't know if he's talked to his parents about that yet or not, but
Oh, geez.
um, he's a kid who's just hard nosed, tough, gets
Yeah.
after it, gritty. Doesn't necessarily score the ball for us, but he
No.
gets after it defensively, and he can score the ball. I mean, he has
Yeah.
he has quite a few threes for us on the year. So
Yes.
he's a
Yes.
kid you don't want to leave open.
Clutch
But
threes too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But his biggest thing for us is defending and rebounding, and he does a very good job with that. So but yeah, going back to tomorrow, we know that Matthews is going to come in with a game plan to take Duncan out, and
Yeah.
other guys are going to have to step up and try and score for us. So looking
Yeah.
forward to it. They're gonna have a great game plan. They did the first time,
It sure did.
and you're going in the shoebox, and I'm assuming it's going to be their senior night tomorrow. So it'll be a tough matchup. Looking forward to it. Um, Packed house. I mean, it doesn't seat. It was we hold 1,046 in our gym, and
Yeah.
I know there was well beyond that in our gym. So
Yes.
I don't think the shoebox holds nearly that. So get there
It doesn't.
early if you plan on being there.
And I remember going. I remember it's still that high school right next to Brothers Pizza, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
I remember going and to play there in middle school, and there's only one gym. Like all teams play in that one gym, right?
Yeah. That's it.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
that's how that
Yeah.
school's been there for ages. I'm pretty sure my grandma graduated from that school, and she's like 75. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Absolutely.
so sorry to throw my grandma under the bus, but I mean that school needs to be replaced. But I mean, I remember going in their middle school games in the locker rooms. They got all the pipes coming out of the
Yeah.
ceiling and stuff like that. And I
Hey,
remember,
it's warm in the locker rooms. It is very hot in those
I
locker rooms.
remember one of my old teammates was like, "Hey, hey, check this out!" and actually touched one of the pipes
Oh,
and burned himself pretty bad. I'm like, "Oh my
yep.
gosh, this whole
Yep.
school's a liability." It is. It really is,
uh,
especially for Cole and Duncan in there. They probably smacked their heads off of
yeah.
everything because
Yep.
it's just about 8 foot ceiling or so.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
maybe even 7 to 8 foot. So and you have
Yep.
stuff hanging down.
Right.
So tell them look
But it's
out for
cool.
the exit signs.
It's cool to have different environments to play in. The students are going to be on top of you. The fans are going to be on top of you. Yeah, it's honestly one of my favorite places to play just because of the nostalgia of it.
Yeah.
Um, Not necessarily because it's a great place to play, but the nostalgia of it, knowing that Rex Leach played there, and it's an old school gym. So it is. I mean, it is cool for our kids to play in different environments. So I look forward to going there every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's always anticipated to
Yeah.
go there. Like they come to Badger, but like it's good to win at home, but like we want to go there and beat them there too. Like that,
Yeah.
that's how it feels like, especially
Yep.
when I went to Badger. But I mean, a couple other things before I know you got to go here soon. But oh, he's cutting in and out.
Sorry,
You there?
guys.
You there?
Yep, I
People keep
got a phone
calling
call.
you.
Yeah, I'm very important, I guess.
I guess so. I guess so. But a couple more questions for you. I know you got to get going
Yep.
here soon.
Yeah.
So what do you got to do here? We talked about that defensive side. We talked, and rebounding goes with that, and you have, the odd guys going in and rebound. Like Brad comes in and rebounds, but you have Cole and Duncan down there too, and Duncan
Mhm.
can rebound as well. But what do you have to do to especially get Cole to get going down there? Like Cole seems to be a little bit out of place sometimes. I think he gets a little like honestly a little scared down there. So what do you gotta do just to, bump up his volume, pump up his volume a little bit,
Cole just has to
motivate
get
him?
back to Cole just has to get back to what he was doing well at the beginning of the season. I think towards the end here, he knows his senior season's winding down, and he's kind of forcing things a little bit. He needs to get back to one or two dribbles, and then if he doesn't have a shot, kick it back out. Like
Okay.
I said, I feel like he's kind of stressing a little bit, knowing that end of the season's coming, and he's forcing things a little too much.
I feel that too.
We
Yeah.
need to get back to watching that film early in the season on what he did well. Put him in spots to make sure that he's having his success. So, that's my job as a head coach to make sure that I'm putting him in those spots to succeed. And going back at it, I feel like those are the spots that he was able to have some success in, was to be able to not over dribble, or not try to force things on offense. So
All right. All right. So one more question.
yeah.
We won't go too much into it, but there has been some controversial calls and stuff like that. What do you like, especially in the past couple of games? But like, what do you got to do to? And I believe that was a big factor in the PV game too. Like you said, you guys are up by 17. I think there were some fouls called, and maybe the momentum fell off a little bit. What do you guys? What do you have to do to get your guys? Like, you gotta be like, hey, no matter what foul calls, no matter if you know what's wrong or not, just keep playing the game that you grew up playing. What do you got to do just to keep them, you know, in that vision, basically, to keep them in that
Uh,
lock?
for me, I told our guys, especially after the Maplewood game, that I'm not one that's gonna allow us to use the crutch that some bad calls didn't go or some calls didn't go our way. Um, because if we play the way that we know how to play, then the refs aren't we aren't putting the refs in a position to say they made a bad call. So I refuse to allow us to use that crutch that that there were bad calls. Going back and looking at it, there were some calls that we got away with.
Yeah,
That I
yeah,
feel like we fouled them a little bit at the end that they didn't call it on us. So it evens out as much as people feel like calls don't go our way. I feel like there are times where we get away with some stuff. So, but yeah, I refuse to allow our kids to use that crutch of, we the refs made a bad call or this and that. At the end of the day, we just got to play the way we know how to play and make plays. And if we do that, then I feel like we're going to be successful either way. So, but yeah, I don't allow our guys to use that crutch and say, we lost the game because of officials. There are 10 to 15 plays throughout a game that if we make them, then, it'll never come down to one official's call. So that's just my opinion.
but yes, and I agree with you. But hey, I know you got some stuff to do, so I
Yep.
appreciate you coming on here, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. But if not, I'll try and keep tabs on it. And good luck to you tomorrow, though. And we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
All right, Matt. Thanks, bud.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks for Josh Upshire coming on here talking with me for a little bit. Badger, that team has been. They started off really great, 10-0. They've had a couple up and down games, but I feel like they're starting to rebound a little bit from that. I think their character has been built even stronger based off those games that they didn't come out with. So uh, it's going to be exciting to see where they go, and especially other teams like that on the network too. Anthony, if you want to pop back in here for real quick, if
I
you want
got
to.
you.
But yeah, like I was just saying, like there's a lot of teams that have gone through little bumps in the roads.
Mhm.
Like, I've seen Badger do it. Badger's been through a couple bumps. I've seen, how about Brookfield here and there. How about
Brookfield,
like South
South
Range
Range
maybe?
started the season 0-5. You look what they've
Yeah,
done since.
exactly.
Even the leader of the 88 on the boys' side, Gerard, had a couple of losses that they feel like they probably could
Yes,
have won, and they put the 88 in jeopardy with losses to Jefferson and South Range.
yes,
So Gerard's in that same boat too. It's all about, and this is the basketball mindset. It's different than football because, of course, football you have to try to get into the playoffs, but basketball,
yeah,
everyone gets in. So of course you want to
yeah,
be one of the teams that wins a conference championship,
yeah,
but you more than that, you want to make sure your team's playing the best they can by February.
yes,
So you lose 5 games in November. If it gets you right before February, who really cares, right? Who cares that you started 0-5? Now you're 10-8. You've gone 10-3 since that start.
yeah.
Who cares? You know,
And another one to look for is the Badger girls team.
Badger
They
girls.
they started 1-4, and they haven't lost since. One way, it's 17, 18 in a row, and including the league championship in 38 years, which we were talking about earlier. So anybody can switch it. Anybody
Right.
can turn the knob around, flip the switch on, be like, all right, we lost a couple games. We learned from that. Let's move on from here. So, and
And
I've seen some fantastic finishes from that. You look at Badger last year. They were a game under 500, I think, and made the district semifinals as a 9 seed. So
right.
I thought that was a beautiful Cinderella run right there.
And you look at the
For
Badger girls and how really good their season went last year, and
yes,
they got
yes,
beat in the first round of the
yeah.
playoffs.
So they got a journey to go through. They want to they want to forget about that. They
Forget
want to
about
push
that,
on.
and
Yeah.
we keep bringing it up. We're bad.
Yeah, we're bad. We keep
We're
bringing
bad.
it up. But I think
That's what media's job is.
Yep. But I think that's gonna wind up the first show here. Anthony, I thank you for coming on with me and helping me out here. And I think of course Josh Upshire coming on here as well for the first show. But hey, we'll see you everybody Wednesday. Maybe try and spice this up a little bit more. Try and plan it out a little bit more. We'll see you in a couple days.
Matt,
But
you got through the first show.
we
That's
got
the
through
first,
it. We
you
got
through
through
the
it.
first
I'm gonna
show.
be hopefully I'll be a little better Wednesday.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations on episode 1, bud.
Episode 1
running points coming up from
Yes.
1 to 2. There you're gonna have a recap of the weekend's action. You'll have a preview of tonight's action. We're also gonna hear an interview pre-recorded with Riley Hutton, the Flash from
Sweet.
Salem Girls Basketball. So make sure to tune in 1 to 2 for all that. Matt, we'll see you on Wednesday.
Yep.
Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in to Talk More with Matt Morrison.
All right. We'll see you, everybody.